No, it's about trees, but it's a good one actually. They should hype it up more. It's a good name. It's the Fight for the Forest.
Fight for the Forest. Huh, that's
It's the
interesting.
Fight for the Forest. Yeah, it's the fight. That's what they call Washington and Oregon. The Fight for the Forest.
I like that.
Let's bring in Loud Esmond right now. And I was just going over the numbers of this game, talking about Washington. Listen, Washington have had success against the Ducks. It's one of these bitter rivalry type of football games. But if you look at this Washington Husky offense over the last month or so, they hung 42 on Illinois. They went to Wisconsin in a bad weather game. They didn't play well. They lost as like 10-point favorites. I was on the Badgers that day. They lost 13-10. But they went back home. They hung 49 on Purdue. They went to L.A. last week. They hung 48 on UCLA. So they've scored 42 or more in 3 of their last 4 football games, right? They've got a great young quarterback. The offense is starting to click right now. They're starting, to figure out Fitch's system here. So they are playing good football right now, and you get the Ducks, who are one of the best teams in the country. Loud Esmond in the house with us. Loud, what do you think of the fight for the Forest, the Ducks and the Huskies? Who you got?
Also previously called the Cascade Clash. I'm not sure what the history is on that. That's right.
Detergent. Yes, good call, Loud. That's what it was.
Yeah, Fight for the Forest is better.
Yes. We'll stipulate to that.
It is true. It is true. They
Ducks
call whatever. It's like they have that in MLS, the Cascadia Cup and stuff like that with Portland, Vancouver. Fight for the Forest. I'd stick with that one if I was them.
Look, the Ducks are banged up at receiver. They got 2 starters out at receiver for this game. But, they've got one of the nation's top running games. So that bodes well for them, right? They're still going to be able to run the ball. But the Huskies have a great run defense. They allow just over 100 yards per game and rank inside the top 20. And like you say, both Washington teams, the Cougars and the Huskies, have been looking better as the season has gone on. One of the problems, though, for the Huskies is they're looking at an Oregon defense that's top 10 in a lot of categories, and they are great against the pass. But Jed Fish has only lost 1 home game since he took over as the coach for the Huskies. So I think this is going to be a grinded-out affair, bitterness on both sides. And I'm with you guys. I like the Huskies to cover the 6.5 here. That's what I think is going to happen. And then Oregon State, Washington State, 3:30. Look, both these teams not great. The Beavers only have 2 wins. They beat FCS Lafayette. Who knows? And of course, then they beat these very same Washington State Cougars as the 2 teams meet for the second time this season in a quirk of the realignment. It's going to be a question to me, who's going to be playing quarterback out there, because the QB freshman Tristan Tia, I think is how you pronounce that. He came in last week in relief of the sophomore and the junior quarterback, who both played terrible, and he got a couple of touchdowns. Now, the Beavers are bad on offense. They only get about 19.1 points per game. They're down in the 80s and 100s in most offensive categories. And the Cougars, however, this is a game with a lot of motivation. They need 1 win to become bowl eligible. They can get it here today. They've been 2 very different teams. On the road, they stink. They've only got 1 win. At home, they're 4-1. Last week, I was surprised. They led most of the way against the James Madison Dukes on the road. I didn't see that coming. They ended up losing a close one. And like I said, they seem to get better as the season rolls along. However, I'm not ready to lay almost 2 touchdowns with them here, but I love the under in this game.
They've been awesome on the road, though, Loud. They almost beat Virginia. They almost beat Virginia, James Madison, and they've been
road warriors.
They've been road warriors.
Yeah, but
they're amazing.
They've been close,
right?
They've been close. They're
33-point underdogs at Ole Miss.
Yes, right.
They lost by 3.
Yes, they
were 15-point underdogs in Virginia. They lost by 2. They were 14.5-point underdogs last week. They lost by 4. Right? No, these guys have been road warriors this year, but now it's a different spot. They got to win by 14.
Yeah, I'm still going to be on the under in this game. They scored 17 points between them in the last game. Neither one is really good on offense. I'm just not ready to lay 13.5 with the Cougars. They're just not consistent. By the way, I still feel like this should be the Apple Cup game today. I'm still not comfortable with having moved that to the beginning of the season. By the way, the most popular apple in the U.S. is the Honeycrisp, which ironically, although Washington produces the most apples per capita, they don't produce a lot of that, which comes from Minnesota, by the way.
Yes, that's true.
Thanks for the agricultural update.
Yeah, exactly. Loud Esmond, apple farmer.
Loud Esmond, hit the pick.com.